Yeah, I'm gonna keep my
Read this
light
week.
No shortcuts. Might have seen yeah. No shortcuts. I'm here to give you motivation and a little bit of inspiration. No shortcuts. Me and the boss ain't easy. Every day somebody needs me. It's no shortcuts. I wake up, stretch, say a prayer, coffee and then some fresh air. Time to get it poppin'. I got a fresh 24. Hopefully I'm blessed with plenty more. Meanwhile, I'm thankful for the fire on the inside burning. I keep earning as the world keeps turning. The thing about life is you never stop learning. Hoping everybody Maxwell, Vernon. You make a plan, then you stick to it. Even in tough times, get through it. So get to it. And make sure your family's straight. We going worldwide, you understanding me, mate? Providing a platform where like minds can meet. Closed mouths don't get fed, want everybody to eat. On Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch. Tuesdays at noon, let's all get rich. It's no shortcuts. Tell a friend to tell a friend about the No Shortcut Show.
Yeah. So do as that very last line in that introductory song said. Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Tell a friend to tell a friend about the No Shortcut Show, because guess what? We are on right now, live, our usual time, usual channel. We gotta let a little bit of that run. Famous loves that for the brunch.
That's my favorite line. Get you a gin and juice.
You like that one for the brunch, people. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
12 o'clock somewhere.
Come on in, ladies and gentlemen. While you're getting situated, drop us a comment. Say hi. Don't be bashful. Come on in. Drop us a comment. Say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. We understand it's the lunch hour. We always like to know what you guys are dining on as well, what you're sipping on. You know, because we'll probably be doing the same thing after we get done here. It's a beautiful day. It looks like spring is upon us earlier than anticipated. I've seen in the last week. I've seen lizards. I've seen bumblebees. I've seen anthills.
Wow.
And what else? And today pollen.
Yeah, the pollen is here.
The pollen is here, man. The pollen is here. So I guess it's looking very it's looking very bad this year for those who are anticipating.
We got everything but the groundhog.
Yeah,
he's about to come out.
Yeah, he should come on out too, as warm as it is.
Yeah. What's up, Matthew Hardison's in the house. Miss Frances Hardison's in the house. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, and
Juan Velasquez, cruise planner. What's happening?
What's up, Juan? What's happening? Multitasking here, lunch, show, schoolwork. Hey, man, do it too.
And he's got closing out clients.
Yeah,
Juan is working. And he's eating meatloaf leftovers for lunch.
You can't beat that. You let the flavors marinate overnight. You know what I'm saying? They let them marry a little more, all of the seasoning. You know, awesome. You top it off with a little ketchup there.
Oh, don't do it. Don't do the ketchup.
Yeah. Hey, but speaking of ketchup, right? I'm gonna segue.
Oh man, this guy's a rapper.
Yeah, man. But I was gonna just ask you how your weekend went.
Weekend was good, man. Weekend was good. We did a bridal show on Saturday at Sugar Creek Brewing, and the group that was putting on the show, it was their first one, so it was a little bit more low key McGee, and there was still a good bunch of potential wedding clients in this at this show. I think I had 8 or 9 leads come from it, so I've already started working them and getting them into the system. And I think there was like 2 or 3 that I feel really good about that they're almost definitely going to book. So if I get 2 or 3 weddings out of a small show like that, I'm good. I'm straight.
Yeah, and that's what it's about too. Networking. I think last week DJ Miliano says your network equals your net worth.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah, so and then yesterday we did the second part of the senior night for the girls basketball academy. I did their final game of their senior night last night, so that was pretty cool, man. What
Okay.
about you? What you have going on this weekend?
Man, besides my church duties on Sunday at Mount Dewell, we did a Tony tribute in
Yeah,
Shay's Lounge, at Shay's Lounge, I should say, in Shay's Lounge, and we definitely went outside.
yeah,
But down in Columbia, South Carolina, this
yeah,
past Saturday, man, shout out to Brandon Stevens,
yeah.
shout out to Rod McCoy, who those two artists and musicians were featured,
Right.
on the show. And shout out to my guy on drums, Mike Myers, and shout out to Jerry B. Washington for all of them holding it down. Man, it was a great time. It was
Good
sold
deal.
out, so
Yeah,
that's something to always be proud of as a performer.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
and salute and shout out to Shay Alexander down in Columbia, South
Hmm.
Carolina, ladies and gentlemen. She does live entertainment, if I'm not mistaken, Thursday through Sunday. You can go
Hmm.
to her website online or her Facebook page, Shay's Lounge. That's CHAYZ. If you're in that area or gonna be in that area, you like live music, you want to dress up a little bit, get a bite to eat.
Yeah.
That's the spot. That's the
Good
spot to
deal.
check out.
I've been there. I've been. I think I told you last week. I went
Definitely.
to
Yeah,
Shay's
yeah.
Lounge a couple years ago. Brandon was there, and I did, and it was a sold out that night too. So that's a nice spot, nice
Mhm.
little spot in
Yeah,
Columbia.
and a lot of the shows are sold out. Even this
Yeah,
coming week, she was already sold out. And I think another participant who was in the audience has a show coming up there, and she's already sold out. So
yeah,
they're doing a nice thing, there with as far as live music and the atmosphere and people really because
yeah,
everybody wants to come out, dress up a little bit every once in a
hmm,
while,
yeah,
and order some upscale food and have live entertainment. You sit at your tables and
yeah.
just sit and enjoy. We had them up dancing though on the last set when we closed out with the Tony feels good.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
Hmm.
That's my era right there, man.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
for everyone that's watching, we're glad you're here. Glad you're
We
here.
are glad.
Welcome. If you're here for the first time and you don't know what we're talking about, this guy right here, my co-host, is a North Carolina Music Hall of Fame musician, member
Uh,
of chairman of the board, the music director of chairman of the board, the legendary chairman of the board,
look at her.
and a member of the South Carolina Music Hall of Fame with his band Mellow Groove. And he's a podcast host of this show and the That's My Story podcast. And he's a musician, and he's a rapper, and he's a producer. He actually created the theme song for this fine show.
Yeah,
My
just a
man
creator.
Jerry Midas Hardison. What's happening, brother?
I'm just the artist at heart, a
You
creator,
are.
a
You
concept
are.
lover. I
You are.
love music.
Musician. Yeah.
Many hats. You know what I'm saying? Hey,
And you've
thank you
been
for
able to
the.
do it to where you don't have to have a job, man. That's good. Just
And
do it.
that's why we're
That's what you
here.
do. Yeah, exactly.
That's why we're here to
Yeah,
inspire others who have
yeah.
similar passions and
Absolutely.
gifts to be
Yeah.
able to do the same thing. So after that warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time here and you don't know who this distinguished gentleman is, to
Oh
the
man.
to the left hand side of your screen, ladies and gentlemen, he does many things. He wears many hats. None of them are on his head at this moment,
Nope, I
but
just shaved.
he's an event coordinator. He's an entertainment consultant. He's
Man.
a digital media strategist. He is the executive producer as well as the co-host of this very platform that you're currently watching, which goes by the name of the No Shortcut Show with Midas and Fame. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen,
Most importantly.
most importantly, in the last capacity, obviously not the least capacity you may find him in, as I always say, he's your favorite DJ's favorite DJ.
Man.
Ladies and
Love
gentlemen,
this guy, man.
at home, put some applause in the chat. You can make some noise on your lunch hour while you're in your cubicle. We don't mind. Make some noise, ladies and gentlemen, for Mr. Travis Bizel, aka
Yeah.
DJ Famous.
Thank you, man. I gotta get your Cash App so I can send you something.
you
Shout out
got
to
my
Josh.
you got my Venmo.
Yeah, I got your Venmo. Josh Walker's joining us. What up, Josh? DJ Sticks is here.
Josh,
Yeah,
what
he
up?
says he has a friend that performs at Shay's Lounge as well,
Mm.
so that's good. Small world,
Oh,
brother.
Terrence Young, guitar player. Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
know Terrence Young. I did a show. We were on the same show last year near Columbia. I can't remember the name of the spot, but it was an outdoor event, man,
Okay,
and it was it was nice. It was nice, like
cool.
a big big backyard barbecue. People drove down with their campers and were there for the whole weekend, and we played
Yeah.
on a Saturday. Shout out to Terrence Young,
Shout out
man,
to Terrence Young.
extraordinary guitar player.
Tell folks about this show, man. What is the No Shortcuts show?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have no idea why you're here today, or you don't have any idea what it is that we do here, this is a platform. Hey, mom, I love you. This is a platform that was the brainchild of DJ Famous and myself. Just coming out of lockdown and different things like that. And we wanted to start a platform where, us being entrepreneurs and working for ourselves, we wanted to start a platform where we could share some of our experiences as well as share some jewels with others who may be in similar situations that we are. You may not even be in that situation, you just may be on the cusp of beginning. You may just need a little boost, a little nudge in the right direction, a little motivation, a little inspiration. And so we decided to start this platform, ladies and gentlemen. And initially it was DJ Famous and I for the first few episodes. And then we started having on guests. And, these guests are people that we know who do different things, a variety of things. But no matter what it is that you do, everybody has a story, right? And with that story, no matter what your field of expertise may be, sharing your journey may be, no, not maybe, it is helpful. It's helpful to other people because you telling, I guess, telling us they went through certain things
Yeah.
helps us avoid certain things.
Right.
you know. And not only that, them sharing their story could also provide that little inspiration, or that little bit of extra motivation you need to make a decision to go for whatever it is that you may be talented at, for whatever it is you may be gifted at.
Yeah.
So we started a community here because at the end of the day, what good is being an entrepreneur if we don't circulate any business amongst us? So we started, right? So we started our No Shortcuts community. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't joined our No Shortcuts community on Facebook, please be sure to do so. We're in the process of sending out invites and everything right now. We got 180 members over the last 2-3 weeks that we started it. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, so within this group, say we have our guest today. He's gonna talk to you guys, tell you his story. He's gonna tell you where you can contact him and if you need his services. But in this community, we can circulate business amongst each other. You may be
Yeah.
looking for a DJ.
Yeah.
You
I
got
know
DJ
some.
Famous right here. We got DJ Sticks. We got DJ Miliano, and so many other So as I said last week, if you need a DJ for a function, ladies and gentlemen, and you bomb, it's nobody's fault. It's nobody's fault but your own. Because we
Yeah.
definitely
We've
have
given
DJs
you
in our community.
we've given you a lot
So
of DJs, we've given you a lot of musicians, we've given you a bunch
musicians,
of drummers as well, but
yeah,
also photographers we have on the
yeah,
show.
yeah. My brother has
Um,
the online show. My sister has the
yeah.
Touch of Faith with the home
Yeah.
decor. And ladies and
Absolutely.
gentlemen, real quick, if you're in the comments, if you want to go ahead and drop your business links, do that. Do
Yeah.
that. Please. That's why we're here. So Josh, Juan, you guys are here. Matt, you're here. Mom, Faith, you guys are here. If you want to, feel free to do
Yeah.
that.
Drop
That's
your
what we're
stuff in
here.
there.
That's what we're here for.
Let me tell you about this guest we have here, man.
Let's do it.
This guy is what we call the serial entrepreneur, right?
Hey, there we go.
This guy, he decided a long time ago he wasn't working for nobody anymore and said, I just got to have my own hours, get my own schedules. And he was really, when business and everybody started migrating and doing business on Facebook, he was actually one of the first to start doing Facebook ads from the very beginning of Facebook ads. So we definitely wanted to have him on to talk about that as well, talk about the differences and how internet marketing is going now versus when he first started doing it. And
Okay.
I'm telling you, if I can use this song without getting muted by YouTube, his theme song would be "Every
Just
Day
sing
I'm
it.
Hustling." Just
Just sing
"Every
it.
Day I'm Hustling" by Rick Ross. Yeah, you can,
Okay,
you
I
can
digress.
interpolate it, but I don't want to get muted. But let's welcome in our guest, Mr.
Man.
What's
First time
happening?
seeing the show. I'm pretty impressed. Love it.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah,
Thank you.
man. Thank you for joining us today. It is a pleasure and an honor to have you come on and spend a little bit of time with us and our audience and share your story, your journey with us today. We appreciate you.
Yeah. So we like to get started, Matt, with we give our guests some time to talk about their background a little bit, so our audience can get to know you. So tell us a little bit about where you're from, and what it was like for you growing up, brothers and sisters, things like that.
Yeah, so from Canton, Ohio, the Football Hall of Fame town, for those
Ah,
of you that don't know,
nice.
birthplace of American football, which is the only reason the Hall of Fame is there, because otherwise, if you've ever been, it's pretty unspectacular.
Yeah, there's nothing else there but the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
Industrial
so
area.
typical blue collar steel town. Um, Grew up, kind of been an entrepreneur, like one of the born entrepreneurs. I feel like there's two different types. There's people that kind of have that, hustler mentality, want to succeed at whatever they do in life. They have motivation to do something to better their lives. And then there's people that kind of were born with this spark in them. And I feel like I'm in that latter category where I've been doing business my whole life, like even as a kid, mowing lawns. So up in Ohio, it's mowing lawns in the summer, shoveling driveways, door to door in the winter,
Mm,
selling candy out of my locker everywhere in between.
Yeah.
mm,
So always hustling, had a paper route,
yeah.
collecting baseball and football cards and
Uh-huh.
stuff like that. Just always thinking about, business. When my parents used to ask me what I wanted to be when I grew up, I would say a millionaire. So I don't know where I got these notions, but it's kind of always in my blood.
Ah,
And yeah, so watched my dad go through a lot of different stuff. He was a golf pro. He gave lessons. He was a rock and roll star when I was a kid. He was a race car driver. Did some modeling. I mean, he was like a true Renaissance man. So I always grew
yeah.
up idolizing him and kind of learning from him and watching him deal with people was great. But yeah, I mean, I've just been in business literally my whole life. So even as a kid, did a lot of shady stuff growing up in the hood with, just misdirected entrepreneurial spirit. As you
Uh-huh.
can imagine, I won't go into too many details, but,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
left
We've
on
had
your own
that.
business,
We
that's where that passion comes out.
Yeah.
yeah, we've had that on here,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
hey, you
Yeah.
don't
So,
have to go
I
into
grew
all the
up
details,
probably
but
in about the same time period as y'all, in the 90s when I feel like when you're a teenager, that's really your most impressionable years. So for me, it was the 90s. So, all through the 90s, completely influenced by everything 90s culture.
mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like it was a great time period to be alive, great time period to kind of plant my entrepreneurial roots before the internet. So I feel like we're a lucky group of people that grew up without the internet, so we get to see both sides of this
Yeah.
Yeah.
current
I
business
wanted,
state that we find ourselves in.
yeah, I wanted to go back real quick because you said you started like cutting lawns and shoveling snow as a kid. Like, do you recall it, maybe specifically how old you were at that time when you started, and what may have been the inspiration? Like, were you trying to get a video game or like some shoes or sneakers? Do you recall any of that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my mom would let me mow our lawn with the push mower, and she'd give me
Mm.
$5. $5 to a kid probably in elementary
Oh man.
school, 8, 9 years old. And I'm like, as an entrepreneur, you just do the math. You look around like, wait a second, if I can get $5 for my lawn, I wonder how much I get for my neighbor's lawn. So
Yeah.
you're pushing that lawnmower door to door and showing up with a gas can and a weed eater, uh, just kind of
Yeah.
wanting to make money because with money you buy anything. You get candy, you can go to the store, you go to the skatery. For me, I always bought football cards because I feel like I'm investing this money, and I would get
Mhm.
the Beckett, right, the football guy.
Yeah.
And
What do you know about
Yeah.
Beckett, man?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So write
Right.
all
You
the
got the
prices
book.
down.
You got yeah. You got the book, and then you look find your specific card, see how much it's worth, right? Taking them
Yeah,
to school and trading with your friends and doing. Oh man, that was
absolutely.
huge for a minute. That was huge for a minute. Now
Oh, everything.
you spoke about your mom and dad being involved in different things. You got any brothers and sisters?
Yeah, one older brother and one younger brother. So I'm right in the middle. And there was at one point, my older brother was in law school. I used to tell people I have one brother in law school and one brother incarcerated.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Understandable. Understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
My older brother was always the more level-headed. He got straight A's all through school. Went to college. He's a lawyer now. My younger brother's been in and out of prison, starting with group homes from a very young age. Like I said, we grew up in a time period where you got away with everything. Well, him not so much. He got caught quite a bit.
Yeah.
Um, And I find myself that, all through my life, I've kind of been somewhere in the middle, right?
Right.
I think that's kind of that entrepreneurial spirit where you look at things in a different way. Like criminals, they find ways to like take shortcuts, right? They
Yeah,
find
yeah.
find a way to get to
There's
that
no
money.
shortcuts.
Yeah, yeah, but there's no shortcuts. You find
Yeah,
out.
yeah. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
But you got to do it obviously in a legal way. I mean, an entrepreneur is just looking
Yeah.
at the world in a different frame and saying, you know what, I think we could do something different and find a way to get paid doing it.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. So you did everything from mowing lawns to shoveling snow, and what else did you say you were doing as a kid? We're going to catch back up where you left off.
Yeah, I had a free press paper route. So they would
Paper
just
route.
drop. That was what I feel like was my first business, and I was fourth, fifth grade, so 10 years old. I don't know how I was able to sign up for this, but I did,
Yeah.
and it was
Okay.
only available to one person at a time. So they would just come drop the two stacks off on my front porch, the
Uh,
paper, the inserts, and then the bags. Well,
yeah.
I hated stuffing those papers. You had to
Yeah.
like take out the paper, put the other one in there, fold it up, put it in a plastic bag, and then load up your sack. Right. My
Right.
favorite part was putting that sack on my bike, riding through the neighborhood, and just like bam,
Throwing the paper. How, how early? How early did you have to get up to start your route? Usually it's very early, right?
Saturdays really early, like 6 o'clock in the morning. But
Ooh.
we would have that. I've like hired my first employee at that age. I hired a kid to stuff the papers for me because I hated doing that part, and then we
Okay.
would just deliver them. So
He was
we
a
had these
boss
storm
then.
doors, like these aluminum storm doors up
Uh-huh.
in Ohio. So when you hit the door, it would just like bang, and it's like
Yeah.
winning, right? We played, we
Getting
played
the
that game
enjoyment out
Paperboy
of
on
it.
Nintendo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's awesome, man. All right, so and as you began to as you got older, what kind of other things did you find yourself getting into? Considering you had such a entrepreneurial spirit at an early age.
Yeah. So I moved out of Ohio because wherever you grow up, you got to get the hell out of there. Right? At some point, it's like I got to get out of this place. So I moved to Florida and got a job for a minute. I was 20, and then what's pretty interesting though is I had this job. It's the longest job I ever had because I never stayed at any place. I hated working for anybody else. And they offered me a position like after a year, and I'm 21 years old at this point. I've been there for a year, and they
Okay.
say they're going to give me a branch in another city, a truck, a per diem, a phone, and all this stuff. And I'm like, nah, man. They're like, what? They're like, you don't have a college degree. You 21 years old. We've never offered this to anybody else. And I'm just like,
Mhm.
it's a trap, man. It's the trap. I ain't doing
Uh-huh.
it.
Yeah.
I just was like, I don't know how I had the presence of mind to say no because really it's an incredible offer at that time.
Sure.
Right. Sounds good.
Ability and money and a truck and all this good stuff. And I just knew that wasn't my life. And had I taken that path, who knows where I'd be today. Obviously, I wouldn't have met my wife and had the kids I have now.
Right.
But that was a very pivotal point for me. And what I did
Okay.
was instead was I said, you know what? I still got a little bit of athleticism left in me at 21. I'm gonna go play
Mhm.
ball. So I went to USF to play basketball.
Okay.
Wow.
Super.
Yeah, had a 42-inch vertical at that time. I'm 5'11". I used to dunk out of the gym, which was awesome, and that's just like another dream. You get a vision for your life and a vision for your business, and you
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
after it, pursue it. If it doesn't work out, so be it. But you got to go for it, right?
Yeah.
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 Absolutely.
So you
Gotta
got a
go
little
for
some Matt McClung going on there.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little
Before
bit.
the
Hey,
internet, unfortunately, I
mhm.
mean, the internet was around, so we're talking early 2000s, but nobody
Mhm.
had smartphones. Nobody could just
Right.
Yeah.
record you and, post awesome videos. My life would have been different for me had we had that stuff back
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Famous, you sure
yeah,
you
no,
could?
I didn't have any of that. Transferred to a couple schools and then dropped out because, I met my wife, my current wife, and this is like
Mhm.
2002 and I'm just like, what am I going to do now? I got to give up on this dream. It's not working out for me. I'm trying to walk on. I went to three different schools, and nobody was giving me the time of day because I was a street baller. I didn't grow up
Yeah.
playing basketball.
Organized guys. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just, gritty and a scorer, and I don't know anything about basketball, organized ball. So
Right.
shit just didn't work out. Another pivotal point was at that point, Amy and I moved to Sarasota. She got a job, and I'm just laying there in the pool one day. We just moved into this place we can't afford. We don't have jobs or
Wow.
nothing. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what am I going to do with my life now? Right.
Okay.
And I'm like, I know what I'll do. I'll get out those Carlton Sheets books that I bought off the infomercial and get into real estate.
Oh
And I
wow.
did. And I've been self-employed ever since. That's
Sweet.
22 years ago, 21
Wow.
years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
I
Yeah.
mean, it
So
wasn't just like, a success story from there. I mean, it's been a
Of
lot
course.
of ups and downs, as any entrepreneur knows.
Of
yes,
course.
yes, yes. So it seems like the pivotal point was after of course, you wanted to chase your dream of playing ball, but it didn't work out, and it was almost like you were pushed into that direction to go ahead and do something where you could be in charge, but also be compensated for.
Yeah, exactly. It's tough being a born entrepreneur because you always see the angle on something and you picture yourself being big and famous and making money. You just don't know how you're going to get there. And that's part of the problem, right? Because you had so many good ideas. You're like, which one do I pursue? I mean, I've had so many things come and go, and you just kind of, I used to get so mad that you later see it come to fruition, right? Like I had an idea for a social media site before it even existed. So nobody knew how to make it. Nobody even knew what the hell I was talking about. It was 2003. It's like, then you see Facebook come along and you're like, man, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, MySpace.
Yeah, MySpace,
Yeah.
exactly, MySpace. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
If
but
only.
I've learned to just kind of give those up.
Yeah.
I feel like these ideas are in the atmosphere. They're in the consciousness, the collective
Yeah.
consciousness, because we're all connected by this common thread. That if it lands on you, you have the opportunity to do something with it. But if you choose not to, you need to just let it go. Let it float on down that stream to the next guy and see if he can bring it to life. Because we're all part of it. We're all connected. It's going to come to fruition one way, shape, or form. That's why it landed on you.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
learned to kind of just let go and stop being so mad about it all the time. And just figure out what your path is and what resonates with you, and just correct course along the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's some good advice right there. And we're going to talk about your worldly advice, the architect, the
The
lifestyle
architect, right?
architect, But
Yeah.
I wanted to touch a bit on the, I know a lot of what you do entails sales and marketing, and we're going to talk about the internet, the social media marketing and stuff like that. Did you have any marketing schooling, or is it all just learned on the fly?
All on the fly. So let's see, 2011, I think 2010, 2011. I started flipping houses, and as you know, what happened with the real estate market, everything crashed. And I was in South Florida, so Tampa, Sarasota area, we got hit real hard. I went from doing well. I mean, I'm in my early 20s. I'm flipping houses. I'm having some success. I've been doing it for 5 years, and suddenly I went from making six figures to nothing. Like everything dried up. Nobody was buying houses. Nobody could get loans. Investors weren't buying and holding. I mean, insurance companies were going bankrupt in Florida. So
Wow.
we literally lost it all. That was the first time we lost everything. And it's those pivotal points again in your life that you look back on that really make you who you are in present day.
Yeah.
Uh, is losing it all. I mean, it's obviously way easier to make your first good bit of money, your first million, whatever you want to call it, than to try to do it again. Because after you suffer that blow, you make all this money, you're doing really well, you think this is going to be your path, you lose it. Trying to pick yourself up and fight on and dream a new dream, that's
Yeah.
hard. That's
Yeah,
really hard, especially the older you get. Because when you're young, you're naive. You don't know what you don't know. You're
Right.
just like, I don't care.
Right.
Let's do it,
Very
right?
true.
Then
Very
you get
true.
older, you got kids, and you're like, well, shit. You got family telling you need to man up and get a job. And I'm like, hello, do you know me? Get a job, right?
Yeah. Some people are just wired differently, you know?
yeah.
I know, and it's their own
Yeah.
fears, and I get that. Not everybody's wired this way, and
Hmm.
I look at my brother, and he's got a great job. He's a partner at a law firm, and I look at his life, and I'm like, man, I don't know how you do it. And he looks at my life, and he's like,
Same.
man, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. What a boring world it would be if we all did the same things and saw everything the same way. That's
Yeah.
what makes each of us unique in our own right.
Yeah.
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 So to answer your question about the marketing background, after I kind of lost it all, the real estate market, I was shit. I didn't know what to do. Now it's like I'm looking at the stock market, I'm looking at internet marketing, and I'm like, stock market's scary as hell. I did some paper trading. was like, that's dangerous. I don't have the bankroll for that, or the temperament to try to deal with that. So I got into
Uh-huh.
internet marketing, and I signed up for like kind of like an MLM type company, and that's really where I developed all the skills that I kind of built upon from then. That was 2011. So
Okay.
how to drive traffic online, building a blog, social media, all this stuff kind of was so new, and I had no money, and we did not. Amy had a job, she was working a job, it was enough to just barely pay the bills, and I'm over here trying to figure it out while raising kids.
Yeah.
And so I had to figure everything out. I'm over here rocking my son with my foot while I'm on the internet, like pulling my hair out, like,
Wow.
why won't this fucking work?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. 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 No, that's I could imagine that's a stressful
Yeah.
time, where you got the wife out working, you got a little one, when you're trying to manage take care of him while being at home, trying to figure out your occupational situation for yourself. That's a lot to deal with mentally.
Yeah.
It's a lot to deal
Yeah.
with. But it looks like but of course you got over that hump.
Yeah, I mean, out of necessity, because you just got to
Mhm.
have that unrelenting desire to just not accept defeat, right? To always continue to keep moving forward, keep plugging away. And, if you're absolutely certain of your outcome, everything in between doesn't matter as long as you don't give up, right? It's going
Right.
to happen one way, shape, or form eventually. You just can't quit. And that's the
Right.
difference between people I've seen come and go in this business and many of the different businesses I've been involved with. They just give up. They're like, you know what?
Hmm.
This is too scary. I can't deal with it. I'm going to go get a job. Hey,
Hmm.
okay, to each his own, but that's never
Right.
going to be me. And I've always had this attitude, kind of going back to the first time that we lost everything and we sold
Hmm.
everything. I mean, we had nothing. We lost it all. We lost three houses to foreclosure simultaneously, including on our
Wow.
own personal residence. My car got repoed. Amy had a car through Mary Kay, so we had that little bit to pick up and move on, but we sold everything. And the
Hmm.
lowest point for me was, selling my son's crib.
Hmm.
That's
Like a
one of those
keepsake
moments,
almost.
like I had a good attitude about it at the time. I'm like laughing and joking. Amy's like, I don't get it. We're losing everything. How can you be so positive? And I said, you know what? Not even this is going to stop me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because
And
something
Absolutely.
like that is very, very sentimental. I would, definitely. I think we all have kids, so we understand the sentimental value of like
Yeah.
wanting to hold on to maybe something a little longer than what you ended up having to get rid of it, the rate that you had to get rid of it.
yeah, everything. Helping another man put my son's crib in the back of his truck was like
Mm.
definitely a serious low point for me. So
Yeah,
we
yeah,
sold everything, had to pick up and move on. And it's like you got to dream a new dream. You got to
Yeah.
figure it out. You
Yeah.
have
yeah,
to.
yeah,
And that's just that's what makes it so good though. It's like you don't
Yeah.
understand, babe. We got a story now. We got a
Yeah.
yeah,
story
yeah,
that we
absolutely.
and
Yeah,
I'll be
yeah,
able to tell the story on stage, and that's exactly what I did in 5 different countries.
yeah.
Absolutely. Oh,
And
that's a
having a story helps someone else.
that's
Pop,
a
hey, famous, if you don't mind, pop up Josh's comment real fast, if you don't mind.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then that was a perfect segue because I want to get you to talk about some of the places you've been and what you've done since then. But sounds like the kids really helped as motivation to continue after losing it all. That's amazing. That's what Josh
Yeah,
says. Yeah. Yeah, so you had that motivation because you wanted to make sure your wife was good, your kids was good. We're gonna
that's
get
the
out of this
provider,
thing.
provider
Yeah,
and protector. That's the
yeah,
man's role,
Absolutely.
right?
As a man, as a father, I mean, as a husband, it's your
Yeah.
responsibility to protect your herd, to protect your tribe. And, this definite motivation. That's why I have a lot of respect for entrepreneurs, but particularly entrepreneur parents, mothers
Yeah,
and fathers out there trying to build a family at the same time. That's not easy. I mean, it's not easy at all, no matter what career choice you're in.
that's right.
But,
That's right.
during those times of uncertainty, that's the toughest, like you have no idea how you're going to put food on the table, but you figure it
Yeah.
out.
yeah, yeah,
Wow. Yeah,
absolutely.
man. That's
That's a
great.
great story, man. And then you came out of it. You came out
Yeah.
of it,
Came out of it.
successfully, and then it just you were able to use what you learned in your story to just go full blast off. So tell me where you've been and what you've been, how you've been able to do that.
Yeah, so like I said, I got into internet marketing. Thankfully, Amy got a good job and she was making enough money for us to get stable. And we kind of just, plugged away, repaired our credit because we had shit for credit. Of course, we ruined it all. I started learning, blogging, and then I got into affiliate marketing. This was really the shift away from the MLM that I stubbornly stuck to, which is an interesting thing because, as an entrepreneur, the idea is like never give up. But sometimes that's the best thing you can do on
Yeah.
something that just isn't working.
Yeah.
Like listen to the universe telling you door after door after door is closing. There's only so many times you can just keep beating it down.
That's right.
Maybe it's trying to get you to correct course and go a different route. Doesn't mean that you're quitting. Doesn't mean that you're giving up completely. You're just changing gears, you're changing direction. And so that's what I did. I got into affiliate marketing and I discovered that, Facebook ads coupled with affiliate marketing was like, oh shit, I can make money at this, right? So I started promoting other people's products, getting involved with product launches where it would be an affiliate launch and, the affiliates would make money on the sales that they referred, but also there'd be a contest. So I started landing on these leaderboards and winning some of these things, getting top 10 and winning all this money. I'm like, okay. And, you look at that kind of scenario, the ecosystem involved there. You got the seller, you got the affiliate, and you got traffic. Well, I started learning all these things and thinking, why don't I just build the course? Like I can learn some of these things, create a course. And so that kind of led me into that. And I became the seller. I became the guy doing the launch. And then I had multiple six-figure launches from there, several JV Zoo product of the days. People started to know my name. I went to events. And that's really where it took off. Going to physical events was everything. That's where you make the connections. It's great meeting people online, being in the groups and being in stuff like this. It's awesome. It's really getting your face out there, and meeting people and sharing these kind of stories and drinking until 2:00 in the morning. That is where those bonds are solidified. So that's really where it took off.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, nothing like face to face. Like I agree with what you said. Online communication is great, but if you could go be in an atmosphere where you can be in front of people and everybody that's there is there on a business type of mindset, you can't beat that.
Yeah, and it's just like the affiliate marketing thing where I'm looking at the guys on stage and I'm like, I could be up there, right? Like, why don't I just do that? And you start to go out to these events and you meet the people and you meet the people putting them on and you start to become known. Like, hey, you want to speak at my event? And that's another kind of critical moment because, like a lot of people, I had a fear of speaking on stage, public speaking. It used to just like, I'm just a ghetto ass kid in the hood. What the hell do I know?
That gonna get us YouTube trouble.
Sorry, I don't know the rules. I never have.
But not everybody over there on YouTube.
It's all right.
Hey, he doesn't mean it. No, yeah, we don't know about the profanity. We just try to be calm. But go ahead.
No, it's good. It's good.
Y'all keep it clean.
Yeah, it's all good. Go ahead, proceed. Though you said you were you were terrified of public speaking initially.
But I knew it was going to take that to get to that next level. Going to events and knowing everybody, and that's great. To get to that real next level, was to speak on stage. And I knew it was going to come. So one day, my business partner who lived in Tokyo, he was an expat from Colorado, but he had lived in Tokyo for like 20 years. It was great because he worked, the other side of the world. So we were always working together on stuff. He calls me up one day on Skype, like he did every morning. And he said, dude, look, we're going to do an event out here in Tokyo. And I understand, I know how you feel about speaking, but it's in December and this is in July. Or June or July. And he's like, but we want you to come out and speak. And I understand if you don't want to, and that's fine. It's a big commitment, but we'd love to have you out and you can speak. And I was like, damn. It's like, oh, come on, man. It's like, all right, you know what? Let's do it. I got 6 months to get myself right. I'll get into the books. I'll hire a coach. I'll do whatever it takes. I'm going to figure it out. So I said yes, right? Yeah. And sometimes saying yes to those things that cause you the most amount of fear is all the universe needs to go, okay, here's some more of that. So the very next day, this was a Tuesday, the very next day, one of my mentors, Matt Basak, calls me up. He said, hey, do you got a product on Facebook marketing? I said, yeah. He's like, is it high ticket? I'm like, it could be. He's like, can you sell it from stage? I'm like, I never have. He's like, we'll figure it out. But you got one, right? And I said, yeah. He goes, well, I have an event coming up in 6 weeks, and I want you to speak at it. It's in Atlanta at the Sugarloaf Country Club. And I'm like, okay, yes, I already said yes. So
Yeah.
the universe has set me up for success. Like, gave me
Yeah.
more of that. The very next day, I'm not even joking. I'm talking to my boy Ross Carroll, and I said, "You're not going to believe this." I told him about Tokyo. I told him about Atlanta. And he goes, "Well, it just so happens that I'm having an event in Vegas. We just got to figure it out. And if you want to speak at it, you can come warm up. It'll be a smaller group, less than 100 people, but you can come cut your teeth here in Vegas." And I'm like, what is
Yeah.
happening
Yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
right?
The calling.
And of course, I had to say yes. We like to be congruent, so I said yes. So in 3 days, I got my first 3 speaking gigs, not by putting it out there and trying to seek these things out, but the opportunity landed in my lap, and I said yes.
Wow. That's amazing.
That's
And it
That
was
is
awesome.
2 weeks from
amazing.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had been around
And
6 months. So I had to get my mind right in
Yeah.
2 weeks.
yeah.
So
Now,
I was freaking out.
and I'm sure you're being paid to do that, as well as the proceeds that may come from you marketing your products at these events as well.
Yeah, the first one wasn't paid. The second one was selling, and the third one
Okay.
was our group. So it
Ah,
was just more from my status to speak in
ah.
Tokyo too. So
Yeah. That's
Okay.
it's a
great.
big deal.
But it's still an opportunity to get up in front of people and still, present your products and things.
Absolutely, you you
Okay.
you
Okay.
you join an elite group of people. That there's people at every event. You have 1,000 attendees. You have 10 speakers. So you're joining
Okay.
a very elite class of marketers. So it's really just elevating your status just by
Yeah.
the very nature of speaking on stage.
Yeah.
Awesome. I see.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Definitely.
everything was lining up, I guess after you know how I look at it? Like, you spent so much time, and this just hit me, but you spent so much time putting effort in looking and doing things and doing this and doing that. The energy came back, the boomerang. It came back to you. You didn't. So
Because
I,
you were putting
I
it
I feel
out there.
like you put so much. Yeah, you put so much time into searching and doing this and doing that, that it was just at that specific time, as you say, like the universe, for lack of a better term, rewarded you for your
Yeah.
time. You know what I mean? And almost pick and chose the path for you to go down. That's
Right. And it's
amazing.
also has a lot to do with manifestation. So
Yeah,
as an entrepreneur, you have to dream that big dream and you have to get a very clear vision of where this all leads, right?
yeah,
And work backwards from there because by doing that, I believe that all things are possible in the field of infinite potentiality, right? All
hmm
outcomes are possible. So when you ever have that feeling like, man, I'm right where I need to be. Well, of course you are because this was just one outcome. And
yeah,
so at the same time, if you can believe that, then it makes more sense while we still have control. Because if you think, well, if I'm right where I'm supposed to be, then I didn't make any mistakes. Like this is, it was all kind of scripted for me, but that's not true. All things are possible, right? Every single outcome is possible but by putting that vision and that energy into a particular outcome that you want to see happen, you bring it closer to you. You create the
all of
pathway
attraction.
in the universe and in your own mind to actually
Yeah,
achieve it. So that's,
yeah.
I believe, how those speaking gigs came to be. Is that I manifested it by just believing that that was going to be an outcome eventually, anyways.
Yeah. Wow.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah,
And
whatever you want, you shall have.
you shall. You shall. Just say yes. Just say yes. That's all we have to
Yeah.
do. Just say yes to
Yes,
something,
and I will say that the one thing that I've learned from that over my course of my 20+ year entrepreneur career is those things that make you nervous, that give you the greatest amount of fear. The best way to overcome that is run into the mouth of the beast.
Yeah.
Just
Lean
get in it.
into it.
Yeah.
Stuff because on the other side, you'll find it wasn't so scary after all, right? Just
Yeah.
run into the mouth of the beast. If you can take
Yeah.
on this mindset, if you're nervous about going to events, you're nervous about getting on camera, standing on stage, run towards that thing, and
Yeah.
you will conquer it immediately.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
absolutely.
agree.
Absolutely. Just run into that thing. I wanted to get you, Matt, to talk a little bit about the Facebook ads again, because a lot of our members, entrepreneurs, we're doing ads online, whether it be Juan with the cruise planners or Touch of Faith. Everyone's doing online advertises right now. So we would love to hear, a little bit of what Facebook ads look like 15 years ago for you versus what you see now in that space, and a little tips on how it could be better if possible.
Yeah, so people today have it way easier than we did because Facebook has collected so much data on all of us
Boy, I
that
tell
you
you.
really don't need to do anything, right? So let me just start with a tip for if you have a local business, don't even target, right? You might think, well, I want to target people that like this or like that. Don't do any targeting. Just
Mm,
do basically for my business now, it's where I live plus 35 miles, no targeting.
Yeah.
Let Facebook figure it out. And they
Yeah.
do a fantastic job of doing that. Um, so you got to give it a little bit of time to kind of build up that data and let it learn that, all ads when you first publish them, they go into this learning phase, right? So they see like if we put it in front of these types of people, who's going to respond to this type of messaging, then it gets better over time. But when we first started out, there wasn't even cross targeting. You couldn't even cross segment one group with this group. So it was like you either had to target somebody that liked Tony Robbins or somebody that liked, Success Magazine, right? You
Right.
had to pick like one thing. And then the software came out. It was called Cross Interest or some Cross Audience Interest. It was this tool before Facebook had the ability to do that, that would allow you to cross segment. And that was a total game changer. We're talking 2013, maybe 12, 13.
okay.
So like 10 years ago. And you really had to get granular and drill down into the targeting to pinpoint the exact people that you wanted to target. And thanks to all of us that spent all that kind of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars on Facebook ad, we built up all this data for y'all to run ads now. And it's gotten
Yeah,
so much.
yeah. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Yeah,
We appreciate your time and services.
yeah. So don't overthink it. I mean, it's really not that difficult
Yeah.
these days. I mean, the
Yeah.
platform itself, Facebook ads, is an absolute mess when you get in there. It's like
Yeah.
can be so overwhelming, but it's really quite simple. Pick your area and maybe your age group, and then it's all about the ad itself, the headline, the text, video. Obviously, if you can do video or an image, and then the link. So it's all about your messaging.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is so we can really now start to skip the whole people that like this or people that have interacted with this page or that group or stuff like that. It's really just about location and maybe age as an indicator, but not all the other extra stuff.
Well, it really depends because it's hard to say from a broad perspective, how that's going to apply to each individual business. But if you have a
Right.
local business, the best thing you can do is just say, I want to target Atlanta plus 35 miles or Charlotte plus 35 miles or whatever you
Right.
think.
Okay.
And you'll see the circle kind of expand to show you what areas that includes and what
Mm,
services that you provide. And then basically your headline, like for you, Travis, it might say, wedding DJ or something like that. So anybody that's obviously sees that isn't involved in any weddings isn't going to respond to that. So it doesn't make any sense to them. But Facebook already has all this data where somebody already announced they're getting engaged. They already said that they're in a relationship,
yeah.
right? So you don't really need to
Yeah.
do much. Facebook's like, I got you, dog. I know where to put this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's really all you need to do for a local business. Now,
Yeah.
e-commerce is a little different because you're
Right.
you're marketing to all over the country or all over the world.
Right. Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we do have some e-commerce in here also with Matt. Matt Hardison does
Yeah.
e-commerce
Yeah.
and
Shout out to my brother.
Faith as well. So yeah, that's good, man. That's good stuff. And another thing I wanted to talk about with you, Matt, is just as you were coming up, being an entrepreneur from cutting grass back in the day when you were really young.
Mhm.
I know this about you already, but your family a family of entrepreneurs. Your wife is an entrepreneur as well. Your oldest
Yeah.
daughter is an entrepreneur. Is that something that you and did they just come about it naturally or from your example, or is that something you were really teaching your kids that you want them to be working for themselves too?
100%. With Amy, people that have ambition could end up being entrepreneurs, right? Because that ambition is going to come out whether they're a realtor or they're working in a sales job, they want to get to a managerial position. That's ambition. It's the
Yeah.
same thing as an entrepreneurial spirit. So Amy's always had ambition, and that's probably why God put us together because he knew I couldn't be with no scrub. So
Yeah. Look, TLC. I don't want no scrubs.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, growing up, raising our kids in an entrepreneur household from the day they were born, that's all that they've known. So they've got to see it, but we've got to have, so many teachable moments. They've got to see, us struggle and thrive and everything in between. And it's those kind of things where you take those opportunities to instill these lessons in your kids. So yeah, when they're talking about, what do you want to do with your life, how would you like it to go, and you want to be able to travel, well, you're not going to do that when you're working at
Gotta clock
Chick-fil-A,
in.
right? Like, you got
Yeah.
to figure out what that life vision looks like, and work backwards from there and design your life and architect the life that you want based on the outcome you'd like to see. So, teaching the kids that, doing things is better than having things. There was a time when we stopped buying them Christmas presents. We're like, look, what did you get for Christmas last year? And they're like,
Don't
uh,
even know.
let me think. I
Yeah.
forget. I'm like, of course you do. What'd you get? And they'll maybe come up with one or two things. Well, where is it now? It's probably in the trash, isn't it?
Yeah.
Giving them like Walmart Christmas and stuff, all this useless crap just to give them presents. I
Right.
said, we started teaching them, like, let's go on a vacation instead. Let's take a trip. Let's go skiing. I'd rather drop 5, 10 grand than spend $300 that's going to be in the trash can in a month. Uh, and they'll never forget those experiences. So
Memory.
when they
Yeah.
start to see that, like, they get away from this consumer mindset where, I don't want to just go to a job just to get a paycheck to buy stuff I don't need, just so I can rinse and repeat and be miserable, right? I want to create a lifestyle that I get to do whatever I want. And so there's only a handful of ways to do that. You've got to get some domain expertise and some career capital to be able to do that, whether you're in a business or, an entrepreneur or working for another company.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, and if as we're getting towards the end of our hour here, and if I know a lot of what you do now is creating, creating those sales funnels and things like that for products for others. If someone wanted to utilize your services,
Yeah. I would
how can we do that? What does that look like?
Well, currently I'm not for hire, unfortunately.
Okay.
I used to do consulting and build
Yeah.
sales funnels and build webinars, because that was one of the things that's made me an actual ton of money.
Yeah.
But hit me up. Just, I'm always loving to help out entrepreneurs. I love entrepreneurs. They're my people. They get me. When I started going to events, I realized, like, I am home. These are my people. Oh my goodness. Like,
Yeah.
where have you been all my life? I'm
Wow.
dealing with
Yeah.
all these people trying to get a job, right? And I need to be a man, take care of your family, and all my people were here. So,
Yeah.
yeah, unfortunately, I don't do any of that anymore. So I
All
just
right.
kind of have a local business that I'm doing, and it's just something I had to do to get off the internet. It's like right before the scamdemic happened. I had a Shopify apps company, so we made apps for the Shopify e-commerce platform. So anybody that's in e-commerce probably understands what that is.
Yeah.
That's a great business to be in. So it's just constantly changing. We had to shut that down. We sold off one of the apps, and then I just had to do something else. So right now I'm just kind of in between things. We're working on an app. I just got off a call with my dev team this morning. We have a whole new direction. So I'm pretty excited about it, but there's nothing I could do for anybody else other than give you some advice, maybe.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Well, how may they contact you through
Little free
on
game.
IG, or you said you're not on Facebook very much?
Not on Facebook, not on Instagram. So this is
Okay.
completely selfless. I don't need anything from anybody. I'm happy to give, and been doing this for so long that I'm happy that I'm in a position to still be able to give some feedback and some advice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate that. We
Have to
appreciate
have you give your phone number out then, I guess.
MySpace. You can find me on MySpace.
He's right under. He's right under Tom on my.
Yes, I'm the
Yeah,
second
he's
to last
good
person
looking
there.
too. Matter of fact, he in the picture with Tom.
Yeah, Tom's my man.
Yeah. No, that's great, man. But you definitely dropped enough jewels. If for anybody who may be having a question
Yeah.
about how to approach their ad, I don't feel they would need to contact you.
Yeah, that was
Directly.
good. Yeah.
And being that you're not taking any new business at the moment, but yeah, you definitely dropped enough jewels where if anybody had a question about how to approach their ads, I think you nudged them in the right direction today.
Well, now that I know that you guys got the group, maybe it's
Oh
time
yeah,
to get
yeah,
back
yeah.
on
Come
Facebook
on,
and start
yeah, come
contributing.
on up
So
in the group, man.
feel
Yeah.
free to tag
Yeah,
me
the
in there.
water,
Happy
the
to come in and
water's great
contribute.
over there, man.
All right.
The water's great.
Yeah, we'll
The
do
sun is
that.
out.
And just a comment from Josh Walker says, I gotta go, but thanks for sharing your
Ah,
story.
see?
This was the weekly push I needed. That was
Yeah.
Josh Walker.
Thank you so
That's what
much.
we
Thanks
here.
for joining us. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, so my wife does that, Matt. My wife hadn't been on Facebook for years, and she just recently got back on there, but just for one specific Facebook group. That's the only thing she's on there for. So if you
Yeah.
get on and join our group, and that's the only notifications you'll get, is if somebody ats
We're
you in
okay
the
with
group.
that. We're
All right.
okay with
Sounds
that.
good. I can manage that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That was great. We appreciate everybody out there in the comments. I think we
Yeah.
still have 10 people on.
10
Shout
people
out to
watching live,
everybody
yeah.
on Facebook. Shout out to everybody on YouTube.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody on Twitch. Who's hanging
Yeah.
out with us today, man.
And
This
this
has been
episode's
great.
gonna live on Facebook for a while. So just like you normally do, just keep sharing it. If you
Yeah,
you know
drop
someone
names.
else that you know that needs to hear this, put a comment with their name on it, tag them on it, so they can keep watching this episode as it replays throughout the week as well. But we definitely appreciate Matt for joining in with us. This was great, man. Any closing words, Matt? Anything you want to leave us with? Something you learned along the way that you wish you knew ahead of time?
I would say that the number one thing, probably three things that you need to do to get anywhere in life. I don't care if you're an entrepreneur or not. Number one, take full responsibility for your life. You'll never get anywhere being a victim. Two, to figure out how to control the thoughts that you have, right? The way that you talk to yourself is everything. And three is do the things, right? It's all about the work every single day. Put in the work, do the things that you know you need to do to get to where you want to be, and give it time. Okay? That's the best advice I can give anybody in life.
Thank you, man. I'm gonna give you some applause for that
Hey,
Yeah.
I was just gonna add on. Be excited about the work, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes
Absolutely.
we don't get excited about the work, but be excited about
Yeah.
the work because you know what that work is going to potentially translate into later.
Yeah, absolutely. We always say if you love it, tell your face you love it.
What?
People walk around looking mean all the time.
Yeah. Let your face show it. Yeah,
Let your face know that you like what you're doing.
Be happy on the inside. Don't be like some of these people, man, where you try to get a little service and you greet it with a frown.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And a wrinkled up face and lip. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, this has been great, man.
This is great, man.
Yeah, you got any closing words, Famous?
Nah, man, that was it for me. This was the lunchtime hour. Shout out to everybody that was listening. Matt, stay on with us. Don't leave yet. As we close this thing out, shout out to Julie Events, FMG Event Company, all the usual people. If I forgot you, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah. Shout out real quick to Mellow Groove, the chairman of the board, as well as let's see what else we got. The Hour Power. That's my mom right there. Y'all go check out the Hour Power. Y'all want some good biblical speaking, man, and some inspirational, motivational talk. Check out the Hour Power community. Shout out to Smooth Sales. A Touch of Faith. Did I say Praise and Faith yet?
Yep.
Shout out. That's my dad's business. Shout out to our Earth, Wind, and Fire family. I'm thinking about trying to have Verdine and Shelly on pretty soon, too. And shout out to our Honeycomb family over there, man. We appreciate all of you guys. Much love. Much love. And I'm off all week this week, Famous, unless you got something for me.
Nah, I'm off this week, too. So we'll just be chillaxing.
Yeah. We pick up next weekend. But ladies and gentlemen, in the meantime, we're going to run this back. Big thank you one more time to Matt Stefanik for joining us today. Ladies and gentlemen, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. We're going to run this back next Tuesday, same time, same channel. In the meantime, y'all have a great rest of the week. Peace. God bless y'all. We're out of here. Enjoy the rest of your day. No shortcut show. You heard?